She sounded more like someone trying to prove her innocence. A strange reaction, considering her husband was bleeding out, so every second mattered, and no one had even accused her of shooting him. Even one of the officers could tell. Something about the scene just didn't add up.
Something stinks about this. Something ain't right here, man. I'm telling you.
Keith was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Detectives then asked Darlene to come down to the station, framing it as a simple conversation to help them understand what happened. In reality, this was the beginning of her interrogation.
Just tell me in your own words, y'all's activity for the past time to this morning.
Well, I didn't get home until probably around 8 o'clock, maybe a little later than that. I had to get something in my head. And so to see how she was doing, people. And I got in and said maybe about maybe 15, something like that. And of course Jason was so passed out on his bed, he started to sleep, and baked up or set her to bed, placed in the toilet a bit, trying to let them chill out. And then we kind of got out and talked just about normal things, and of course money and everything else, and what we need to do to get out of debt and everything else. And we didn't go to bed until almost 11. So like maybe 9:30, 11. We were living and talking. Well, I take that back. Probably until 6:30 or 7 I went to the show. And then he was already turning up a lot in that show. We always start in and the kids were all sleeping in one room, and between 1 and 1:30, the middle one started hollering. So I went in there.
What's the
Cody. He's between him. So I went in there trying to calm him down. Got him.
Father, what up?
Not back to sleep, but I just told him lay down and I just quit hollering so we can wake the radio up. And then I went to
Why?
bed.
Why? What's wrong with him, man?
And pray about an hour after that, Kate, the youngest one,
Damn.
was up, hollering, going for the past car back to him now. 19 months.
He's still in there now?
So that's him now. Trying to get him to chill out. He's just going back to sleep.
Damn, I know he was breathing messed up too.
I was in there until about 3:30, something like that. And changed clothes. I had shorts off, that little short night set thing. And I freaked.
Shit, and him and fucking Crucial and you mixed? Shit. That's a messed up combo. Nah, that's you. Yep. Alright, I'm about to call that nigga as soon as I'm done with this board.
I do remember waking up probably about 5:15 or so, and I rolled over and looked at this clock and said, I'm not getting up. I didn't have to be up to about 5:45, so I was going to take my extra 30 minutes before I knew it, I was back out, and then came to put on my kids to open, and it was 5 minutes after 6 by his clock.
The detective began with a soft entry question, asking Darlene to explain in her own words her activity from last night to the morning. It's a rapport-building opener designed to let a subject settle into a narrative rhythm. Darlene responds with excessive chronological detail, arrival times, diaper changes, Darlene's eyes rarely meet the detective's. When she does look up, it's only for a second before she drops her gaze again. Her body language tells the story she won't. Her arms stay locked across her chest, her posture closed. In genuine grief interviews, suspects often lean forward or reach outward when recounting traumatic events. Darlene instead contracts, conserving energy for control rather than emotion.
And you said it was about 6 o'clock is when you got up.
Yeah, it's 6. But
Can you tell me the events about that? What woke you up, or
literally him jumping on my head, the baby jumping on my head is what physically made me realize I'm already late. I need to get up, get moving, and then ran to the hall bath. And I ran into the kitchen to get the boys something to drink. Gave them that. They're following me. And I told Chase that Dad's alarm's going off again, as usual. And he's hollering, Daddy, turn it off. And I'm going, Steve, turn off your alarm. And I got to the little foyer, like by our bedroom, and I told Chase, it's cold in here. And that's when I saw the back door open, which is I guess you say side door, not really the back door. And so all I did was go into the room, turn on my lamp, and I just slammed the door shut. And when I turned around, I realized the gate cabinet was open, and there were no guns inside of it. And so then I screamed at Keith, telling him his gun's not in the gun cabinet, that he needs to get up. And the boys were already in the bedroom. Kate was crawling up on my whole jacket by my bed, and all I did was kind of get down because I could hear the noise out of his phone. Sorry. Snores, so I think it just sounded different. It didn't sound like he always snores. So I pulled the light on in the bathroom, and when I turned around, I could see his stomach. Like he was breathing with all of his muscles that he had in his abdomen. And then I realized that he had foam coming out of his mouth. And I tried to holler and told Keith to kind of get him. And didn't make any other noises than what he was already making. And then I realized I saw blood on the sheet. And then that's when I just grabbed my cell phone. Of course, it was off, so I had to wait for it to turn on. And I'm trying to get the boys.
you don't not have any house phones? Just
We just got rid of it, trying to find ways to save money. So, and actually, it's only been turned off for a little over a week. And we were just trying to save $40. And so I had to wait for my cell phone to turn on, and I just punched in 911. I was trying to get the boys out of the room because I didn't want them seeing him. And that's when I made the call, and I told her who it was and where I lived and what he was doing and what I saw. She dispatched police right away and kept me on the phone, and I had to talk to the EMS people. And then I really don't. I remember letting the police officer at the front door, but I don't remember if I hung up on the EMS people. I have no idea.
so you were talking to police dispatchers and transferred to EMS.
As Darlene describes discovering the scene, her tone stays flat and overly controlled. She keeps her eyes down almost the entire time, glancing up only briefly before retreating back to the floor. In interrogation psychology, limited eye contact this early usually isn't shyness, it's control. She isn't avoiding the detective. She's managing the story in her own head. Her description of that morning stands out for what it doesn't include. She says she found the door open and the gun cabinet empty, yet never expresses fear that someone might still be in the house. Instead of panic, her first reaction was to shout at Keith, informing him that the gun cabinet was empty. An oddly detached response for someone who might believe armed intruders could potentially be in her house. Then come the extra details, the temperature of the room, her son's comment about the alarm, the exact phrasing of what she said. This is cognitive overcompensation, padding the story with harmless specifics to sound credible. Ironically, it often signals rehearsal. When emotion finally surfaces, it's brief and inconsistent. She cries when describing Keith's condition, then laughs seconds later about canceling their landline to save $40. That sudden tonal shift is a textbook discordant affect, a sign of emotional disconnection.
Did you hear any peculiar noises throughout the night? Or, I don't know, just start getting up around 3. Dawned out on 1:30 with cold. And then an hour later it came, and then about 3:15, 3:30 with Chase.
Other than the dogs barking and Gunner's normally.
Oh, you know why that pineapple is so sweet, by the way?
What?
Because it's a special golden one.
It was special. It's special. It's good.
It was Port
Yeah, I like it.
special.
Yeah, I like it. Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't carrying on, and I hollered at him once to stop it, and I honestly, I do not know. I don't know if it wasn't the first time I got up, because I don't remember hearing him then.
Yeah, just look for us.
Normally, I've been having issues sleeping seriously here lately. So, normally I'm fairly, I'd say light with kids, but once they wake me up, I'm very light. But that first, when I go out, I'm out until I get woke up. But I can't tell you.
So come in before you get to the kid.
Yeah.
So dog was born, and that's the older dog. You have 2 dogs.
Yeah. He's 9 months. But and even Keith makes comments that some dogs just yelp and yelp and yelp. He doesn't unless he sees something or somebody walking or something like that. Every once in a while, we have them greyhounds that are behind us that they'll get wound up and he'll bark at them, but it's normally not too long. And he was barking last night, and I opened up the French doors, fussed at him, told him to get on the porch and hush, and he came over here and laid down.
That was when.
No, it was this past night. Last night. But it wasn't the first time I got up. It had been in between when I got up at 2 something, because I know it wasn't when I had my pants on, and I didn't change into those until I went and laid down physically with the boys, because I was standing at that back door freezing in my shorts.
Okay. So was it 3:15, 3:30? So we got up to change clothes to shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chase.
Well, it was actually the baby that was hollering, but Chase was awake too.
Okay.
And I just made him go down there until he wanted something to drink.
The dogs was sometime between 1:30 and 2 something. Was when we went out to the door.
Yeah. No, we got a light that's back there by that gray shed, that tin shed, and it doesn't illuminate a lot of things, but I mean, I didn't notice anything different because there's always shadows out there because of all the trees and stuff we have.
Is it a motion light?
No, it's on all the time. I mean, when it's dark.
Dark. So the light stays on all the time. Oh, it's one of those lights that come on when it goes dark and goes off.
Yeah. And we don't physically turn it on and off.
That's on the back corner of the house.
No, that's out by the
Tree line or
silver shed that Keith built. It's at the back of our fence. Not the back of our property, it's the back of our fence. And where Gunner ran from when I hollered at him, he was in between the back fence and the where our trampoline's at.
place of Florence.
But I don't know which direction he was barking at. I just know that's the area he went from. Seen him lay down. That Willie has a guy that owns land behind us. Got several horses and a donkey and all kind of stuff back there too. So, you know, I don't pay any attention to because he'll bark at them too. But
That was about
roughly maybe between 2:15 and 2:30. Because it was almost like every hour they were getting me up. Just that time I get good to sleep, somebody would go to holler.
they locked the neighbors. So that was all.
No, I mean, I have in-laws all the way around me. And definitely not with my mother-in-law and father-in-law.
They live on the east side.
Left or right. If I'm looking at my house, I'm going left.
So the left.
Yeah, I'm not good with three.
With your husband's sister lived.
Her husband and her two boys and her oldest son, now wife, and their little baby.
She's got that son.
Then the girl. I mean, and they always have people, like younger kids running around and stuff, but we never had any issues with them. I mean, it's not a
At night, y'all lock up.
normally. I mean, it's normally not. We normally don't leave anything open except our vehicles. And I know I did go throughout Cody had poop. I guess that was why he woke me up at 1:30. He had pooped in his diaper and wanted to change. And I know I did go out the side door to throw the poop diaper in a Walmart bag in the black barrel out there like we always do. But honestly and truly, I don't remember if I physically locked the door back. So I'm not going to say one way or the other because I don't know.
So you went out that side door. Y'all put the diaper out at one time.
That was when he woke up the first time at 1:30.
But normally the doors are locked except keep the keys in. Did you notice anything odd in that den area? That what there?
No, I mean, honestly, I didn't even turn the lamp off. So, I
15.
I keep as many lamps off as possible just because, and I just normally walk through.
15.
And I physically
0.15 and
unlock the
4.
door to get out
0.15 and 4.
because it's hard to
15 and
kind of
4.
unlock because it kind of sticks
12.
like the deadbolt does. And that's normally the only one we lock on that door is the deadbolt.
When asked if she heard anything unusual during the night, Darlene immediately brings up the dogs, particularly the older one, Gunner. She explains that he doesn't normally bark excessively unless he sees someone walking, even adding that Keith used to say the same thing. This is a subtle move. By focusing on the dog's behavior and backing it up with her husband's past comments, Darlene is building credibility for an intruder theory. It's her way of steering the narrative, suggesting that if the dog was barking excessively, there must have been someone outside. But then comes the inconsistency. Darlene recalls small, unnecessary details with near-perfect clarity. The exact time she got up, the Walmart bag she threw the diaper in, things the kids said during the night. Yet when it comes to the most critical detail, whether she locked the door after stepping outside Her memory suddenly fails. That's not a random gap. It's a selective lapse, one that conveniently leaves room for the idea that someone could have entered the house without forcing their way in. Her answer, "I don't remember," keeps the intruder possibility alive while protecting her from being caught in a lie. Together, the barking dog and the forgotten lock create a narrative that sounds believable on the surface, but underneath, it feels constructed rather than recalled.
Mentioned y'all were trying to save some money. Have y'all been having some financial problems or stuff?
Well, we're just, this third kid is just, it's killing us basically. So we've just been trying to budget to figure out which way, because of course we are getting behind on some bills and
Go.
Offering this level of information before being asked often means she knows the topic is relevant and wants to frame it as ordinary, long-standing, and shared, not focused on Keith. It's a preemptive
You.
normalization.
Did you at any time touch him?
Well, I mean, I know I physically did, I mean, like I shook his leg when I was trying to get his attention, but something a lot different.
The reason I asked is, we got some neighbors at the house in case you're going to use their assisting with the content stuff. They found what they think might be blood in the mom's bathroom sink.
I don't know, as I said, I haven't, other than touching his leg, that is the only part I believe I touched of him.
So you don't remember going after touching maybe any blood area?
No, I was, literally, my cell phone was on my dresser, which is on his side of the bed. When I couldn't get him to respond to me, I turned directly from there, picked up the phone, and, turned it on, and then, of course, had to wait for the service
Kung Fu.
to hit 911. And I had the kids, and I was corralling them.
But you never
On Kung Fu.
Not to my knowledge, by any form.
What you doing?
When y'all walk in y'all's bedroom,
Sorry.
oh, that's good.
What you doing, Kung Fu? Kung Fu. Put the boo, boo, put the boo, boo.
Well, it's actually, it's the hallway right here. We have another little door, and the staircase is right here.
Okay, so this is where the door goes outside. Right, I got you.
Yeah.
So that place is right here.
Yeah.
Where is who all knows?
Honestly, I don't know. And the officer there asked me, could you see it from the top? And I told him, I mean, of course, I can't, but I've noticed he, like, when he's going to look, he has to get up on his toes a little bit, and he's 5'9". But as long as your hands on his toes,
Do you know how many guns in the house?
I know he had a deer rifle, which was a case all by itself in the back room. And that was only because he still left out.
Plastic case, or
Well, it was a hard,
okay.
and then I know he had some type of handgun. Don't ask me what it is, but no idea.
Was it top of case?
I honestly, I don't know. And in the gun cabinet itself, I know just walking back and forth, there might have been 3 guns in there, and one of them actually might have been a BB gun. I don't know. His dad would be the one to actually ask those questions about it.
Hey, he said he played soccer with the new pad after he cut it off.
He played soccer with it?
Yep.
Damn.
And I really appreciate your patience with me on this, Bonnie, but I'm trying to figure out, with you dealing with the kids, you're kind of a half hard sleeper, half light sleeper, and you can hear the kids, but there had to have been a gunshot that went off inside that house, and gunshots are loud.
And that's what I keep trying to physically wrap my brain out. The only, I mean, I had the doors closed to our bed, the kids' bedroom, but our bedroom always keep it open. And
Was it open when you went down the hall?
it was open because I was hollering at him running alarm clock off.
Going to sleep on his back?
Normally never, but in the last couple of weeks, he's got the three snores really bad, and that's
Damn,
I
that's
did before
nice.
I left.
You out food?
So you didn't eat?
No.
Because you ate your butt right.
Right. I made him a plate, made boys a plate, and it was gone. And I just made hamburgers. Quick and easy.
So you must have better and better. Did you have to make rough?
No, actually, she's already at the mall, so I have no idea how.
Okay.
Yeah. I just made her stand. She's trying to.
Y'all ever make this in the house on the friends coming over?
I mean, we used to a lot. And here lately, we've both got so busy. And we really. We will definitely have normally every June and end of August and in March have huge parties at the house. Both of kids' birthday parties that have turned into adult parties all over the house. So, and we're talking anywhere from probably 35 up to 90 people sometimes.
So a lot of people do, but then some y'all's house look like weapons and all that.
Because it's all been the same. They haven't changed much of anything.
But like I said, Darlene, I really appreciate you coming to this. I'm just trying to sort out the events that occurred that you're not here in person. Just, I don't know, used to make it.
The only thing I can say is I did wake up and I looked at the clock at 5:15, but I don't know why I woke up. I just remember rolling over and seeing the clock at 5:15, and I said,
There was noise in the house.
no, I mean, I heard absolutely nothing.
There was certainly some cooking in the house.
No, yeah, I mean, because I did not get scared until I turned around and saw the guns were gone. I did not, yeah, and I did not get scared until that point. Because I'm there a lot of times, those kids by myself.
But don't know if you left that door open.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very honest. I remember unlocking it because it said it's very hard to unlock. And
Unlocking.
that's I physically remember if I locked it or didn't lock it.
But when the police got there, was it open?
They came in the front door.
You have to unlock the front door.
Yes. Yeah. And I had to unlock the French doors when I hollered at Gunner to get on the porch too.
You lock those back.
And, you know, I assume I did the French doors, but I don't know. I mean, I'll be very honest, I don't know. And the front door, I never touched it again after I let him come in. The officer. So, but it was locked. And I was still on the phone with the dispatch. And as I can say, between when I went,
So you did unlock the front doors when people heard about how hard it got.
the French doors was in the back.
Right.
I had to do that when I unlocked it, but when I did the dirty diaper, it's on the side door. And I had to unlock it.
But you think you unlocked the French door?
I'm almost positive I locked the French door back.
That was her partner. The particular got at the hospital said that they were lying there to make some medical decisions, so you have your husband. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if you'll be fair with me, we're going to school, get you to the hospital. Until I can sort this one everyone's a suspect right now until I can determine how your husband suffered this gunshot wound. That's not to take away that he could have had, he could have done it himself. You understand this? If there was a gun on that bed, you could just say this, integrity or anything like that. I keep it on that.
I did not approve. I got it.
Farm your husband.
No, I did not farm my husband.
You know, I've been working for a good relationship. You know, I'm trying to figure out what
I know.
that's all I'm trying to figure out. They need to break it in themselves. But you don't, like I explained to you a while ago, you know, Reggie, you're right. It's just a process of introduction. Until I can figure out who else lost home, then my mind is responsible. Because you're the only one that in the house that can tell me what's going on. Kids can't tell me. Your husband can't tell me right now. And I'll follow up and try to be as sensitive as I can. I've got counselors on standby. So I really appreciate you working with this. But you're going to have fun.
The only thing that I can say is maybe why I didn't perceive it registered that was a different sound. Maybe when it went off, because I didn't have the movie going and the door was shut for that reason.
You mean the sound at 5:15?
Yeah, whatever, why I woke up, because the movie was just about to go off.
Was anybody, you know, anybody else trying to come into the house?
No, no one should have
And leave
been.
the door unlocked, someone come in the
No,
house?
I mean, no one should have been in my house, period, except for us. That's my mother-in-law.
Well, and then, if you want to, you need to tell her anything. We're just going to get your clothes changed and get you to the hospital.
Okay.
In a gambling mood?
The detective circled back to a key question. He asked Darlene if she was ever afraid someone might have been in the house. It sounds simple, but this is one of the most revealing moments of the interview. She says she only got scared after seeing the gun cabinet empty. That's immediately suspicious, because earlier in her story, when she first described finding the cabinet open, she didn't mention fear at all. She said she yelled at Keith that the guns were gone. There was no panic, no instinct to protect the kids, no mention of hiding or calling for help. Now, faced with the same question again, she adds the fear after the fact, a retroactive emotion meant to make her story sound more human. This kind of shift is common in deceptive interviews. When people realize their first version sounds emotionally flat or unnatural, they try to fill in the blanks later. The problem is, genuine fear usually appears in the moment of discovery, not as an edited addition once they've had time to reflect. It's important to note that during the entire interview, Darlene never once asked detectives to check on her husband's condition, nor did she request to be taken to the hospital. She had her phone in her pocket and could have called at any time. That kind of detachment is highly unusual for a wife whose husband has just been shot in the head. It wasn't Darlene who asked to go to the hospital. It was the detective who received a call from doctors requesting her presence. Detectives then drove Darlene to the hospital. Doctors did everything they could, but the bullet wound left Keith brain dead. He was removed from life support and passed away. According to Keith's father, Darlene didn't cry the way a grieving wife normally would.
I never saw her actually really break down. She had tears in her eyes and form, but not like someone like that should have done.
After Keith's passing, detectives asked Darlene if she would return to the station to continue the interview. She agreed, but this time, investigators were no longer looking for answers. They were looking for a confession. When Darlene sensed their shift in tone, she abruptly ended the interview and asked for a lawyer. Roughly 3 weeks later, Darlene was arrested. Her bond was set at $50,000, which she posted the same night. Keith's parents, still convinced of her innocence, allowed Darlene and the children to stay with them. Months passed. Darlene lived in legal limbo, free, but under suspicion.
This was a circumstantial case. It wasn't what I'd call a slam dunk. It was not one of these cases where you have a confession or a bunch of eyewitnesses.
Police still lacked one crucial piece of evidence, Keith's missing .22 caliber pistol. Hoping to start over, Darlene began searching for a new home. She contacted real estate developer Robert Pavelka, who told her he didn't have any houses for sale, but he did have some land available where she could build a house. It was a property with large oak trees and a quiet pond. Darlene fell in love with it immediately.
She called the next day and said, well, did the pond come with the land? I said, yeah, that's part of it. She said, well, that's great because Keith always wanted a place for his kids to go fishing.
It had been something Keith would have really wanted. It had huge oak trees. It was a beautiful place.
But only a few weeks later, she changed her mind. Darlene told Robert she still wanted the property, but not the pond. She now wanted the pond filled in, claiming it was unsafe for her children.
We walked it, looked at it, she got ready to go. Then she said, well, you take your bulldozer and push that pond in now.
I said, I guess fill it in. I said, because to me it'd be safer for the kids.
By this point, Robert Pavelka had heard about Darlene's case, and something didn't sit right. He suspected Darlene might have thrown the murder weapon into the pond, so he contacted police.
I said, aren't y'all missing the murder weapon? And he said, yeah. I said, this don't seem right to me.
First she wanted the water, now she doesn't want the water. My first thought was, that she had thrown the weapon in the tank.
On the morning of January 4th, a dive team searched the pond. There, they recovered a firearm, Keith's missing .22, the weapon they believe was used to end his life. With that discovery, the case was sent to a grand jury. Darlene Gentry was indicted for first-degree murder. When the case went to trial, Darlene still believed she'd walk free. Even though the gun was found, prosecutors faced a challenge. There was no direct physical evidence proving she had dumped it in the pond. On paper, it remained a circumstantial case, one that would hinge on behavior, not just forensics. It was going to be difficult to convince a jury that this former beauty queen, nurse, and mother of 3 had murdered her husband. During opening statements, the prosecution claimed that Darlene shot her husband, staged the scene, and then called 911, more focused on sounding innocent than saving his life.
Emergency. I got up this morning, I was in my son's drink because I didn't sleep. I got doors open, my husband's guns are all gone, and there's blood on the bed, and he is gurgling foam stuff out of his mouth, and he's making it darn awful today.
The defense countered, arguing that Darlene's tone during the 911 call was the result of shock, not guilt.
Just because I wasn't screaming at the top of my lungs does not mean that I wasn't worried about what was going on.
Her attorneys claimed that from the very beginning, police had fixated on her behavior and decided she was guilty before the investigation even began.
She was the only suspect that they ever focused on.
The defense was, well, Robinson police had her nailed from the beginning. They just wanted to get her. They knew it was her. They never looked beyond Darlene Gentry.
As the trial unfolded, prosecutors didn't just focus on the murder. They focused on what Darlene allegedly did after the murder, her visit to the property with the pond, and her later insistence that it be filled in. In court, Robert testified that he contacted a police officer friend to share his suspicions. Next, Texas Ranger Steve Foster took the stand to explain how the weapon was found and revealed a stunning twist. The Rangers didn't just find the gun. They devised a plan to bait Darlene into returning to the pond to retrieve it. They instructed Robert to tell her the pond needed to be drained before being filled, hoping she'd return to recover the weapon first.
She got pretty shook up. You could tell it right there.
A hidden camera was placed near the spot where the gun had been recovered. The trap worked. Soon after, Darlene was caught on camera at the pond, searching in the exact area where the weapon had been found. It was the smoking gun prosecutors needed.
I called Robinson Police Department and said, you're not going to believe what we've got on video.
When the Rangers recovered the gun, They had marked its location with a small wooden stick, and in the footage, Darlene can be seen frantically searching near that stick. More than a year after Keith's death, on February 8, 2007, the jury returned with their verdict. After 5 hours of deliberation, they found Darlene Gentry guilty of murder. She was sentenced to 60 years in prison. If you found this breakdown valuable, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. A young man ends up dead. A jealous boyfriend believed revenge was the only answer, and the girlfriend who could have stopped it helped make it happen instead. 2 people walked into an interrogation room convinced they could explain it all away. What happened next showed how quickly a story falls apart when evidence takes the lead. In April 2024, 25-year-old Nathan Anderson was shot and killed in Clackamas County, Oregon. Investigators quickly discovered the shooting wasn't random. The man behind it was someone he knew well, his co-worker, 26-year-old Cody Denwith, and helping him was Cody's girlfriend, Dominique Britt. The motive? A claim that Nathan had sexually assaulted Dominique while Cody was briefly in jail. That claim was never proven, but for Cody, it was enough to convince himself Nathan had to pay. Within days, he asked Dominique to bring him clothes and his gun. Hours later, Nathan was dead. Detectives now had 2 suspects, a mountain of digital evidence, and 2 very different personalities to confront in the interrogation room. One trying to stay calm and helpful, the other crumbling the moment the truth came out. What you're about to see are those interrogations.
Fuck.
So we're investigating the death of a man named Nathan. I heard about that. How did you hear about that? Social media. Social media?
Yeah, it's been on the news. I looked. Yeah. I guess they're not making a big deal or something.
Did you know Nathan?
Yeah, he used to be my worker.
He used to be a worker for you
Yeah.
at Dave's?
At Dave's. Yeah.
When was that?
Maybe a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we went out maybe 2 or 3 times since then. I helped him move from his mom's to an apartment complex. And it's the first time I heard from him in about 6 months.
When was that?
Maybe a few months back.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess somebody bought their house or something. They had to get out.
Was he, so you said he was moving from his mom's to an apartment?
To an apartment with his girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was there. I helped him move.
From the get-go, Cody started painting himself as Nathan's friend. Helpful, supportive, always there when needed. Psychologically, this is the opposite of a killer. It's impression management, presenting himself as altruistic, not vengeful. The interrogator, meanwhile, isn't pushing. He's using open questions to establish a baseline. He lets Cody lock himself into a version of events, knowing every detail can later be tested against evidence.
He called me one day saying that he needed picked up. He just got arrested or whatever for a DUI or something.
Oh, so like recently?
Yeah, recently.
Okay.
Yeah, and he looked pretty bad off, you know, and I took him to the impound lot, helped him get all his belongings, and took him up to his grandma's in Oregon City.
Oh, wow.
And dropped him and all his belongings off.
So pretty recently, you said he looked kind of like he's been struggling?
Yeah.
Did he look like he was using drugs again?
Possibly. I'm sure he was, yeah.
Did you guys talk about using drugs or recovery or anything like that?
He used to be a recovery mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and he said that he's just going through a hard time right now. I guess I don't know what him and his girlfriend were going through. You know, I try to stay out of people's personal business. But him and his girlfriend were going through something, and he was struggling, and his life was starting to fall apart. Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, it is. Because I've been there, you know?
Yeah. So you helped him get his car out?
No, not his car, just his belongings.
Or just his belongings out of
Yeah.
stuff? Was that the last time that you talked to him?
Not talked to him since then. Yeah.
When's the last time that you talked to him?
Talked to him?
Yeah.
When I got out of jail, I talked to him.
So it was last...
The 25th or something around there. Yeah, I don't know the exact date. But I talked to him, and I guess he'd come over to my apartment while I was in jail, and ended up getting my girlfriend high and all sorts. Yeah, I don't know the full story. He wouldn't tell me it.
Is Dominique in recovery too?
Yes. Yeah, so there's like, and she wasn't getting high or anything, you know,
How long has she been
off of drugs.
Yeah.
5 years or so, maybe, she said. Yeah. And off of alcohol up until recently, a couple of years.
So it's kind of a big hit.
Yeah, like we're all in recovery.
Notice how Cody said Dominique had been sober for years. By emphasizing her recovery, Cody amplifies Nathan's supposed wrongdoing. He wants the detective to view Nathan as the bad guy who destroyed stability and himself as the betrayed protector. The detective reinforces this without judgment by saying, "So that's kind of a big hit." That's a psychological nudge. It validates Cody's feelings just enough to keep him talking. And Cody obliges by saying, "Yes, we're all in recovery." He broadens the theme, trying to align himself with honesty and vulnerability, when in reality he's building a narrative of righteous anger.
Does he know Dominique?
I don't know personally, just through me maybe.
What made him go over your apartment?
Because I was in jail.
Do you think he was like trying to pick up Dominique?
I couldn't tell you. He wouldn't tell me. I tried to get the full story from him for a couple of days. He kept getting all heated with arguments and stuff. You know, cussing and this, that, and the other. It's on your Facebook if you've been on his. I'm sure you have since you're doing an investigation. I'm sure that's probably why I'm here, because of all of his threats and stuff, right?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen it myself personally. But what kind of threats was he making to you?
Just that he did my life and this, that, and the other. And he doesn't, I don't know him. Where he's from. He's from the cartel, and he's from GD, and he's this, that, and the other, and he'll wipe me clean, and blah, blah, blah. Lots of drugs talking.
Okay.
That's
Does he seem like he was...
No, he didn't.
He did that?
He couldn't. I don't know what he was doing. I couldn't tell you personally.
How did that make you feel? Did that make you feel threatened?
No, not at all. You know, he's, in my eyes, he was like my little brother. You know, I didn't know him on a personal level, but, you know, he's younger than me. We've been through some of the same things. He had his life on track there for a minute, you know, and if he needed help, all he had to do was call.
So it's kind of messed up that he went over to your apartment then, given the fact that it sounds like you tried to help him out.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really mind. You know, I didn't think he was trying to pick up on her, but she couldn't remember what was going on because she was blacked out drunk. And so I tried to get the story from him, and all I asked him was, "Hey, screenshot me the messages that you guys had. That way I can get some clarity on the situation of what happened." And immediately he just went into blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, just simple screenshots. Like, what's the problem?
What did you think went down with Dominique?
That she got taken advantage of. And I mentioned that to him on Facebook as well. You see that if you took a look. And he didn't deny it, but he didn't confirm it, you know? And just pretty much, I felt like he was trying to protect something, and then it came down to like, just holler at me when you're cool off, man. And a couple days go by, and I'm like, "Hey, are we cool? Like, are we both good? I know we're both hot-headed. Are we both good?" It's like, "Oh, yeah, we're good." Like, you know, this, that, and the other. And I couldn't tell you the exact conversation word for word, you know? But, you know, we're like, all right, we're both cool. That's all right.
You guys hang out together?
No, we haven't hang out since. And then evenings go on, and I see some stuff on Facebook from Caleb posting her RIP. What happened? He messaged her. I messaged her, yeah. She said that the detectives aren't being clear on what happened, that he was murdered. Yeah.
When the detective said, "It's kind of messed up that he went over to your apartment then, given the fact that you helped him out," it wasn't casual. It was deliberate. By validating Cody's grievance, the detective encourages him to keep talking, and in doing so reveal the underlying motive. Cody obliges, claiming Nathan took advantage of Dominique while she was blacked out drunk, and emphasizing that Nathan never denied it. This is the moment where Cody effectively exposes a motive, and it seems he recognizes it, because he immediately tried to soften the implication. Despite admitting he believed Nathan had gotten Dominique drunk and took advantage of her, Cody immediately insisted that he and Nathan patched things up and were cool with each other. The timing of that claim, coming just before Nathan's death, feels less like reconciliation and more like damage control, a story too convenient to be credible.
Do you have any knowledge of anything that he was who he's hanging out with? He had problems with anybody?
No, just that he's always on the move trying to make a buck.
Is he selling drugs? No, I'm not here to judge him.
I couldn't tell if he was selling drugs or if he was trying to make a buck to get high, but
You got any background?
I couldn't tell you. I don't hang out with like that.
I didn't know in your conversations. It sounds like you've been talking for a while and talked to him kind of recently when he was not doing too good.
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You said I'm being arrested.
Yes.
I'm under arrest. So I'm under arrest for the murder.
Well, I'm going to show you some stuff, okay?
Okay.
You have a very distinctive car. This is surveillance footage that was captured at the time of Nathan's death.
Okay.
Do you recognize that vehicle?
Yeah, I see them everywhere.
Okay. This one has some particulars about it.
Okay.
Is this yours?
It doesn't look like my car precisely. There's a sticker in the window.
Has your car ever had a sticker like that?
No.
Never? This is so in Clackamas County, all of our patrol cars have automatic license plate readers. So when they drive around the county, they take pictures of people's cars, and then you can search the license plate. This is a picture of your car from August 20th from April 28th. That's the date.
Okay.
You can see Ford. Yeah, you can see there's a sticker there on the car.
Okay, so somebody put a sticker on my car? I've never had a sticker on my car.
Have you a sticker from your car?
No.
No?
I've never had that sticker on my car. I mean, obviously it looks like my car, but...
One of the things that we found when we were kind of investigating this is Nathan's phone was with his body when his body was found.
Okay.
And after his death, his phone actually traveled to the area of your apartment.
Okay.
Did you have Nathan's phone with you?
No. How can I have his phone if I was never with him?
Basically, what I'm getting at is there's more surveillance images that we've collected. And I'm fairly certain that you're involved in this.
You think I killed him? Seriously?
Yes.
You think I killed him?
And there's a reason for what happened. If he's threatening you, and, I don't know, I wasn't there. You know what I mean? All I know is, yeah.
Lawyer.
Okay. Are you saying that you want a lawyer?
Well, obviously, if you guys think I killed somebody, I need a lawyer.
Okay, fair enough. So what's going to happen now is we're going to have you go down to our temporary holding. I'm going to get a search warrant to see some of your DNA, some pulls, watch some video. And then
Okay. When do I get a phone call?
it probably won't be until you get to the jail. Okay?
What's the DNA for?
For evidence of offense.
When the detective shows Cody surveillance photos of his car taken at the time and location of the crime, Cody avoids a direct answer. Instead of admitting or denying ownership, he says, "I see those cars everywhere." This is classic distancing language, treating his own car as if it were just another vehicle on the road. Pressed again, Cody replies, "That doesn't look like my car precisely," before pointing out a window sticker, claiming his car doesn't have one. Notice the phrasing, precisely. He leaves himself an escape hatch, keeping his answer vague enough to dodge commitment while not fully denying it. This is a deflection strategy. When suspects can't deny the big picture, they often latch onto minor details in the hope of creating doubt. But detectives are ready. They show another surveillance photo of the same car, same color, even the same sticker, but also the license plate, taken the day before the crime. Cornered, Cody offers a desperate excuse that someone must have put the sticker on his car without him knowing. This is desperation logic. Detectives recognize it instantly. The story is not just unlikely, it's almost impossible. Yet suspects often cling to these far-fetched ideas because acknowledging the truth feels even more threatening. The pressure then escalates. The detective reveals Nathan's cell phone was traced to Cody's apartment after the murder. Cody denies knowing anything, but when the detective finally says outright that he believes Cody was involved, Cody drops the act of cooperation and asks for a lawyer. Cody moves from vague distancing to nitpicking details to implausible denial before finally retreating behind his right to counsel.
You guys got killed, huh? I'm not allowed to. Once you say lawyer, I can't talk to you more about it unless you decide you want to continue talking to us. So just think about it. If you want to continue talking to us, you can. But I can't talk about it unless you make that decision. Well, I like it. Okay. John, if I ask you, we'll worry about it. Okay. And again, man, I asked you a question real fast. Did anything I say when we were in the room together influence your decision to toss your hair? No, you just told me that in order for us to keep talking without a lawyer, I'd have to specify that. Okay. So is it cool if we grab the DNA thing first and then tell me? Okay. Why is it that you guys think I killed him? Well, based on our investigation. Do you think I killed him, or do you think I'm involved in killing him? I think that you're responsible. That I'm responsible for killing him? Yes. Like I first-handed killed him? Yes. Okay. What are you trying to charge me with? Murder in the second degree and unlawful use of a weapon. Okay. Under what grounds? Based on evidence we've collected in our investigation. Do you have a reason, honest question, do you have a reason why we shouldn't be looking at you for this? Is there someone else we should be looking at? I couldn't tell you firsthand if there's somebody else, but me, why me? I'm a family man. I work hard every day to support my family. Why would I go jeopardize it to kill this guy? And that's a good question. I mean, is there something you have against him? No. Well, you talked about, I'll put it this way, okay? Just talk about myself, okay? Yeah. If a buddy of mine went over to my house where my wife was, when I was out of town, no matter where I was, jail or not, you're not going to go kill the guy. But if my wife said, hey man, dude was over here, he got me super drunk, I passed out, I don't know what happened, at the very least, I would be pissed. Okay. Like I would start at pissed, right? And I'm saying I can understand that. But so you still wouldn't go kill a guy. I can't say what I would do. I can only say that I would be pissed, right? So at least there's a reason to think about it takes some people's life. I put life into this world. Why would I want to take it out? People have been killed. People are shooting right now. Anxiety is so high right now. It's ridiculous. Okay. No, I just being arrested sucks. I get it. I'm not gonna argue that. Being arrested for murder. It's not being arrested. Like this is probably what 20 years in prison. Second-degree murder. What does it carry? Well, actually, we're now probably looking at more of first-degree murder. How to go from second-degree to first-degree? Well, within 5 minutes. Because of premeditation. All of a sudden. All of a sudden. Now that's right. In my mind, I'm not the judge or DA, but in my mind, it is. I mean, well, here's the thing, man. Needs to change that. I'd have to explain it. Go for it. So it's the whole car plane thing, man. If you never did this on your car, which you stated you don't, there's one reason. But all of a sudden, one day you did, and that follows fairly recently after finding out that Nathan likely, we'll use the word likely in this case, I think, had sex with your fiance. You took him off, picked him up, go ahead and video of you picking him up, picked him up, took him down a particular area in the alleyway there, shot him, and drove off, put the plates back in your car. You wouldn't take the plates off your car unless you plan on doing it. Premeditation. That's murder one. Is there any reason why we shouldn't be looking at murder one? Just doing murder two instead? You guys can look at whatever you want. You guys are the investigators, right? Okay. Yeah. So I guess we're looking at an option one, which is a crime of passion, right? You got pissed at the moment and shot and killed him. Option two is you planned it ahead of time, which is much worse. Maybe option three is you meant to shoot him but didn't mean to kill him. I don't know which one of those it is. Those obviously sound bad. No, none of them are good, but there's a hierarchy of bad, worse, right? Which we kind of talk about.
of the crime. Passion, premeditation, or accidental, he's boxing Cody in. It's a psychological funnel. Every door leads to guilt, but some are less damning than others. This invites a confession without demanding one. Cody resists, claiming he's a family man and that killing Nathan would make no sense. But as the detective explains the evidence, the missing plates, the location data, the motive, Cody's options vanish. His earlier calm turns to agitation as he realizes the conversation has become a negotiation over how guilty he is. When he finally says, "I think it's time to get a lawyer now," it's not a legal strategy, it's a retreat. The performance of cooperation has collapsed. The moment he understands there's no believable version of innocence left, he does the only thing he can: end the interrogation.
Prior to this happening, did Cody ever express any sort of ill will against Nathan Anderson?
No, I think it just, whatever happened to me, if it happened to me, you know, the way that Nate was wording it, it seemed like something happened to me, and I think Cody just, I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. He didn't tell me that he was going to do anything, if he did anything. I don't know. I'm like, my mind is like trying to like figure things out and like put pieces together. But it's not Cody. I know.
And it can be hard too, because, you know, the only thing that I know people will express me. You know what I mean? Did you have any indication that Cody wanted to do anything bad to Nate, or that he was going to do anything crazy? Or
I know he was talking about wanting to beat him up.
what did he say?
Because Nate was telling him like, oh, we can beat up and we can fight, blah blah. I told him, like, dude, it's not worth it, because if for some reason you guys get caught and hurt him or whatever the case is by beating him up, like, dude, like, what am I gonna do?
One of the things that we did in this investigation is obviously we reviewed the contents of your phone. And we found messages between you and Cody from the day of Nathan's murder. And they kind of raise more questions than they provide answers. And so I say it's important for you to be super honest. It is very important for you to be really honest, because some of these messages don't make it look really good. And I don't know the full story, okay? I don't know the dynamics of your relationship outside of he was very obviously upset at you for a long time before this goes down.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm asking some questions about these messages, and I want you to be super honest. That's all I'm asking. He messaged you about that he needed you to bring to his door upstairs.
Yeah, and I said, told him sure, and then I called him and I said, no, I'm not bringing nothing to you.
What does he refer to?
The gun, probably. The gun. And I told him I'm not.
The safety gun?
Yeah, I told him I'm not bringing nothing to you. If you want it, you can come get it. Because he's not supposed to be on my property. He came in the house, he grabbed a backpack,
Which backpack?
the blue one that was at my aunt's house, put clothes in it. He left. He came back, and that's when it was missing.
And that was last Monday?
Or Sunday. Yeah, Monday or Sunday, yeah.
Listen to how Dominique shifts between protest and passivity. On the one hand, she tells the detective she refused, "I'm not bringing nothing to you," which is a vocal denial of active participation. But immediately after, she describes Cody entering the house, taking a backpack, and leaving with the items. That sequence reveals the psychological split that keeps many accomplices from acting earlier. Moral hesitation followed by passive facilitation. She claims she didn't hand him the weapon, yet describes the exact logistics: where the bag was, that he went upstairs, what he took. That level of detail shows familiarity with the plan and with Cody's movements. Psychologically, that's two things at once. She's trying to preserve a story of non-involvement, while her memory contains the blueprint of the crime. That gap, words saying "I didn't" and memory saying "I saw," is where culpability lives.
You messaged him and you said you didn't even know where he is. Who are you referring to?
Nate, because he was going to meet my dad, right? At my dad's work. And then he's like, oh, I'm just going to drive around. And I'm like, do you even know where he's at? Like, because I thought, because when he came to get the stuff, his bag and obviously his weapon, I didn't go upstairs to look
he said, I'm going to do this alone because your dad wasn't going to help me, right? And I just need you to bring me my tools. So he's pretty adamant that he wants this gun. Is that accurate?
And I told him I wasn't going to.
So after he asked for that, did he come to your apartment? And that's when he went inside.
Grabs the backpack, some clothes, upstairs. He went upstairs.
Did you see what he took from upstairs?
No. I know, like I said, I should have went. I should have done more. If I don't know, my mindset, I thought he was just gonna go beat him up. Honestly, like that's just what I really thought he was gonna do.
Because you told him what is loyalty when it comes to crazy shit.
Yeah, like when we went over the last time, they wanted me to press charges on a domestic violence because I had blood on me and stuff, and I said I fell because I don't know what happened. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know.
He told you that you probably are going to see him for a while. Or maybe it was murder. What did you understand when he said that?
Like the last, like that week of those messages, it was, oh, you're never gonna see me, and I'm never gonna come back. It's like it's always something like that. Like I don't know.
He told you you're going to bring me what I asked for in a backpack. And you're saying that